Welcome, book fiends, to Wicked Good Books, a channel dedicated to books and all things book adjacent. My name is Nick, and I am the host of this channel. Today we're going to do a bit of a book haul for June. I know it's July. My birthday's actually in June, so I've got quite a few books. And having just started the channel, I want to go back real quick and just to backlog some of the awesome books that I got. I'm probably going to put together a July book haul also, so I got a few books in July as well. But let's kick it off. So I got the Song of the Shattered Sands series, or at least started it. I've been sleeping on this series for a long time by Bradley P. Beaulieu, I'm going to say, or Beaulieu. I've been sleeping on this series for a long time. I've seen it at the store almost every time I go, and there's something about it that just stands out to me. It's a fantasy world set in a kind of an Arabian desert vibe, and it really sticks out to me. I've been kind of waiting to see if he finished the series, but it looks like it's still going. I actually think book 5 comes out later this month, but I got all the first 4 books in, I call them quality print. I used to work at Borders 1,000 years ago. One of the best jobs I've ever had. Love that job. They call them quality print there. Most people call them paperbacks, but it's mass market, paperback, and hardcover, and then library binding, and so on and so forth. But for this channel, we're going to call them quality prints because I love Borders verbiage. Next up, we have the 4 books in the Tale of Shikanoko series by Lian and Hearn. I've seen these books, I don't even know how many times, hundreds of times on the shelves. I've always wanted to pick them up. The covers are gorgeous. The design of the jackets, the way they feel, there's just nothing like them. It's actually, FSG Publishing does this quite often. I believe it's the same publishing company as Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, and same kind of deal with the covers, but they're stunning. On camera, in person, it doesn't do them justice. If you have a chance to pick them up, I highly suggest you do. But they are quite stunning. The books themselves have they're feudal Japan, but in a fantasy setting still. I got some Sakura vibes from them, kind of Japanese folklore, kind of sprinkled into a more grounded story, and they're pretty short, so I've been waiting to get this for a long time, and someone finally scooped off my Amazon wish list. So next up, this is actually another trilogy that I already own in paperback, but a friend of mine put me onto Book Depository, which I had no idea existed until recently. It's pretty great. They do these really cool bookmarks when they come overseas, but it's pretty much getting UK bindings of books with free shipping. UK covers, and the UK covers for the Nevernight trilogy, they're just gorgeous. I love them. So happy I finally own them. I've only read the book 1 in this series, Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I'm looking forward to diving into Dark Dawn and God's Grave. I kind of wanted to wait till all 3 of them were out before I dived in, and since I haven't had the chance to put on my list, but this is probably going to be an October read, I think, for me. Another one I've been sleeping on, the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite book series, maybe of all time. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it ends. But I finished Red Rising last month. I'm planning on doing a spoiler book review on this for you guys. I'm actually pretty excited about that one. I am not very far into Golden Sun, but I'm loving it right out the gate. It does not slow, it just dives right into it. I'm really excited / anxious to see what happens to Darrow and company. And then of course the last book, Morningstar, which everyone says once you finish Golden Sun, it's near impossible to not dive right back into Morningstar, so I'm excited for that. Alright, next on the list, these are more singles that I got for the month of June, for my birthday primarily. We start with The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This is another one my friend suggested to me. I actually had seen, I think Amazon suggested it to me also. There's something about it that just, it reminded me of Neil Gaiman's writing. It has to do with these children raised by a father who catalog them all in these different, I don't want to say genres, but there's like labels, and each child stands for a different element or different topic in this library where they're all like kind of trapped in. It's very, very interesting, very, I don't want to say it's magical realism, but it feels very surreal and very, very much like urban fantasy, and I could do some of that right now in my life. I think I'm gonna hold off on this till October though. It feels very Halloween-y to me. Next up, we get The Haunting of Tramcar 15 by, I'm gonna butcher this title, this name, P. Djèlí Clark. This is one of the Tor novella series, super short. I was not expecting that, but it looks amazing. I've heard great things about it. And, I'm really excited to check this one out next month. I might actually hold off on until October again. I like to read my spookier books around Halloween season just to get the spooky vibes. But I also got The Boatman's Daughter by Andy Davidson. This one sounds really interesting. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about a lot of these books just because I have a lot of them to show you. I don't want this video to be 45 minutes long of me describing each book. You have the names. I'll put all the names of the books in the description. You can look them up for yourself and check them out. This one gave me some, what's that movie called? Skeleton Key vibes, where it's like, it takes place in Louisiana in the bayou, and it's super atmospheric and dark and kind of brooding. And it sounded really interesting when I read it on Amazon. I popped it on my wish list just for future reference, and then someone saw that I liked it and scooped it off my list for me. So I'm actually pretty excited to check it out. I actually think I saw Noelle Gallagher had just posted about this on her channel too, so I'm excited to see what she thinks about it if she gets to it before I do. All right, and lastly we have Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix. This guy has some of the, I don't want to say funny, but the coolest covers in the horror genre. This book looked like a lot of fun. It's like a haunted, like a haunted Sam's Club or BJ's, like a large wholesale warehouse store. This is like a horror story set in one of those stores, and everything about it just seems really funny, a little spooky. So I'm really excited to check this one out. I had seen it for a long time on the shelves, and I had to have it. I think I actually bought this for myself when I was at the bookstore. The first time I went down to Barnes & Noble's with a mask on, safely, and which they allowed us inside. Next up is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. And I actually used to own this book in hardcover when it first came out, but I had left it in my car when we moved down here, and I can't remember what spilt on it. Some liquid spilt on it, and it like destroyed the hardcover. Like the pages were already very thin, which I actually wasn't a big fan of. They're very, very, just very thin white paper, and they just bled all together, and I was really bummed out. So I'd only gotten halfway through it back then. I've read it since, but I'm glad that I have a physical copy again versus my Kindle. Next up for July's TBR, we get The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee. I'm really excited about this one. This one is a thick beast, which I'm very much looking forward to. The cover art's gorgeous, reminds me a lot of Nicholas Ames' Kings of the Wild series art. It might even be the same artist or same vibes anyway. But this one's supposed to be really interesting. It has to do with angel princes, and just it almost feels like there's science fiction elements sprinkled into fantasy, which is really my favorite type of fantasy, very much like Stormlight. All right, so these ones are, two of these I've already read, so I might do reviews for them, I'm not sure yet. If you follow me on Goodreads, for the most part, do reviews on everything I read, unless I really hated it, which is very rare. You'll very rarely have me talk about negative reviews on this channel. Generally, if I don't like something, I'm pretty confident in just saying what I didn't like about it. I don't have to make a whole video about it. I got the novelization of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a game I've been playing with my daughter, or she's been watching me play for the parts that I'm, assassinating people, by Doherty. It's just one of those fun reads that I was really digging the story, the plot of this game with Cassandra's character, and it looks like despite in the game you can pick male or female, the brother or the sister, it looks like in the book adaptation, Cassandra is canon, and Cassandra is like my main girl, so I'm pretty excited about reading this one. And then two books I've been sleeping on for a while that I've wanted, and it's such a bummer because they were kind of disappointing. I got the audiobooks as well for both of them. I need my audible credits for both of them. Exit West by Moshe Hamid. I had seen Sam Harris from Ex-Ambassadors reading this and a while ago, and I was just super excited about checking it out. It has to do with a couple in the Middle East that just met and have a very fiery romance, and right around the time they meet, these bombings start happening, and they become refugees and try to flee their home. And these magical doorways appear. It's a bit of magical realism. They never really explain what the doors are, and I won't go into too much detail. I don't want to give spoilers away, but essentially, just from the back of the book, they go through these doorways to escape their warring country. And it was okay. I felt like the story wasn't what I was hoping it would be. The message was very clear, and the writing was beautiful. And the audiobook is actually amazing because it's actually read by the author, and I love when that happens. And then another great audiobook but disappointing read was Hex by Rebecca Dinerston Knight. The audiobook is read by Jenny Slate, who's one of my favorite comedians. She's a very unique voice, and I feel like she brought a lot of color and character to this character, especially because it was first person. But it has to do with I don't know if it's a botany student or a chemist, we'll say biology student, who's obsessed with her the professor she's tutoring under or studying under, and she wants her to fall in love with her, and there's definitely not really a mutual attraction there. But it's about that and about her trying to find this different antidote for this poison she's working on. And she actually gets right out the gate, right from back of the book and from the beginning, gets expelled because someone got hurt in their lab, and then she takes those poison things home and is messing around with them at her home, all the while being obsessed with this teacher. And it was more funny than dark. I was kind of hoping for a little more hex and a little more poison, but the humor is really great, and Jenny Slate's audiobook really pulled me through, and I liked it enough to get the hard copy and keep it, and I liked it enough to check out her next book. I think it's the Sunlight something. Jenny Slate's in the movie, and I'm excited for that one too. That's gonna be my next buy. Sunlit Night, I want to call it. Yeah, the Sunlit Night, that's what it's called. By Rebecca Dannerstein Knight. And I believe the audiobook is also written by Jenny Slate. So I'm excited to pick that up as well. But this is pretty decent. If anybody loves botany or biology, you'll definitely eat this one up. I was just hoping for it to be a little more darker. But the humor is super crude and funny, and Jenny Slate's audiobook version makes it super palatable. So that's it for June's book haul. It's quite a bit. I did also get, you know what? I was about to say that's it for my June book haul, and then I forgot that I had like a shelf's amount of silk punk books that came in that were gotten for my birthday. Most of these are my girls, my wife, my daughters. But I did get Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water by Zen Chow, which just came out. I'm super excited to pick this up. This is going to be probably my next read for the end of the month. I'm also reading Sword of Kaigan, so I'm thinking they'll blend really nicely together. I'm mostly excited about this. Is actually a gift for my daughter. The Rise of Kyoshi by F.C. Yi. Cannot wait to read this one. We're big Last Airbender fans here in this house. We actually just watched it again on Netflix when they put it out, and of course we finished it right after the HD version came out, so now I just have an excuse to rewatch it. But I love Kyoshi, one of my favorite characters of that series, and I'm super excited about diving into her world. And I just found out there's another book coming out, so that's super exciting. I also picked up Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, which I believe the sequel also came out this month, so I need to hurry up and finish this one. I don't read much young adult on this channel or at all. I don't not like it. I just I gravitate towards more adult fantasy and science fiction and horror. But every once in a while, something will stick out to me like this one, and the whole Mulan trope of a girl posing as a boy to join this competition that makes dresses, and the dresses have to be made from the sun and the moon. All those really beautiful fantasy elements sprinkled into Chinese folklore just seemed really interesting to me, so I'm excited to check this one out. I also picked up Wicked Fox by Kat Chow. Really excited about this one. I'm a DM for Dungeons and Dragons, and my wife plays a kitsune, so naturally anything that has anything to do with kitsune, because the kitsune play a pretty decent part in my world that I've created. And Wicked Fox is about a girl who, I don't say she becomes a kitsune, but has these fox-like powers, and set place modern day Korea, so super excited about this one, and to add a Korean author to my bookshelf. Also picked up another young adult, Seven Deadly Shadows by Courtney Alameda and butcher this, Valenine E. Matani. This one seems awesome. Super excited about this one actually. This is one of the first ones I got like on June 1st. It came early. But it has to do with this girl that's just battling these death gods and these Japanese-inspired demons. It seems super interesting, and I'll probably go into more in depth. I like to do a silk punk video, so all these books I'm talking about right now, I would love to go into a more in-depth introduction to each one of them and why I picked them out, but I got so many books to go over right now. So I also picked up another one I've been sitting on for a while, Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. I do believe this is the same artist that did the art for Felix Ortiz. I think he's the same guy who did Kings of the Wild and Bloody Rose, but someone in the comments find out for me and tell me, or I'll find out. But this one seems really cool. It's got that Seven Samurai vibes, kind of like Kings of the Wild too, but more Japanese inspired, I believe. Or is it Chinese? I think it's Japanese. But it's this warrior essentially who has to get all these dead souls of these other warriors to join him in this suicide mission, and it seems really interesting and very, very short too. And lastly, The Beast Player. This is an older book that's been on my wish list for years, like towards the bottom, and I knew if I didn't get it for this year, it was just never gonna make it home. But this is The Beast Player by Naoko Oishi. Wow, I can't butcher that one too. Naoko Oishi, translated by Kathy Hirano. This one, I'll just go ahead and read it as this is the last book on my list. Ellen's family has an important responsibility, caring for the fearsome water serpents that form the core of their kingdom's army. So when some of the creatures mysteriously die, Ellen's mother is sentenced to death as punishment. With her last breath, she managed to send her daughter to safety. So right out the gate, this is super interesting as someone who has 2 little girls and loves Japanese and Chinese folklore. And the book has been on my list for a long time. I believe there's a sequel, and I even think there's a manga adaptation. I could be wrong, but I'm super excited to check this one out. It's been there for a while. And so yeah, that's it. It's quite a bit. My birthday is in June, so I did get more books than I usually get. And with the pandemic keeping us grounded at home, there's not much we could do exterior. Generally, we would go out surfing, we go to the beach, we go to Disney a lot. This year, not so much, not even going to the movies. We've kind of stuck at home playing video games, reading books, doing homeschool, and biding our time, which is totally okay because I've been able to read some amazing books this year so far. So that's it for now, and thanks for tuning in. I'm looking forward to putting together a July book haul for you coming up next, and yeah, stay wicked.